How's it guys, and welcome back to another video here at Greg Dennis Reviews in pride association with Change Cars. Now today we're checking out the Subaru Forester, a veteran in the SUV game. They've been around for forever, but I think we need to check if they've still got what they had before and do they still have that thing that people love. So today we're going to check it out. We're going to take it for a drive and see exactly what it has to offer, and all I'm going to leave you with in this intro is do not judge a book by its cover. Okay, starting things off with a look around the outside of this new Forester. And sadly, I have to say that this is just very vanilla. For a new car, it definitely doesn't really stand out in the crowd. It's not something that you're going to turn back and look at because it looks really nice. I think it's a little bit of a downgrade from the outgoing model's design, unfortunately. But let me still take you a look around the outside. So up front here, you're going to find a massive big black plastic grille. I think the only thing I really like about this design has to be these headlights. The thing that this car has kind of got going for it is the fact that it's kind of got that silhouette that we're used to seeing from a Forester. I mean, it still looks like one from the side. So if you had to, or now I'll kind of overlay the previous model to this one, and you'll still see that it looks like a Forester. And that's all that I can really give this car. I mean, it's still got some really cool Subaru elements to it. So if you have a look right up here, you're going to see kind of these like vents that are going to pull out all the air from inside of the wheel well, which I think is also a nice touch, and that's kind of what you get on Subarus. It's got some nice looking wheels. These two tones are quite cool. They're not bad looking, but they're not standout, and I think that's probably the overall theme for the outside of this car. But like I keep saying, let's not judge a book by its cover because we still have to drive this thing. And with this being an all new design, you're going to find a new tail light and a whole new rear design. I quite like that they've tried to make it look like an entire bar going from one side to the next. But again, that might have just been a theme that's now come and gone with the whole light bars. Maybe that's why they didn't do it. You've got some black lettering and you've got the Forester badging kind of imprinted into the back there. That's quite a nice touch. But what I'm not a big fan of is the way that they've set up the exhaust and where that goes. So I'm not sure if this means if you have a sportier version, that will then be an exhaust for that side. But here with an outlet and there without one, but they look like they're four exhausts, it's a little bit strange. But again, don't judge the book by its cover. Okay, let's take a look at the inside. And here on the inside, I think that it's a little bit nicer looking than what I expected on the outside, because things are a little bit more rugged. This looks like the interior of a 4x4 or a car that you kind of do adventure things with, because if you look here on the dashboard, and depending on which variant you get, you're going to get different color stitching and colors. But here you've also got a nice little design imprinted into the front here. You've got some soft touches on the dash, contrast stitching, wood, aluminium type elements, and that carries through onto like the entirety of the interior here. But something I've always liked about Subaru is their seats. They've always given you some nice like suede Alcantara feeling material inside you. Very comfortable seats, very comfortable to drive in. And again, contrast stitching. You've also got this perforated material, all in combination with the suede. That's a really nice looking seat, I have to admit. And then looking at what you get on the inside, you're going to find a very different interior based off the previous model. So here, everything is integrated into this one vertical screen. Before you had that infotainment, there was another section above there that sat above the dashboard, which I'll also overlay on screen to show you the difference between the old model and the new model. But in here, you're going to find all of your car settings. You're going to be able to get to Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, which I do feel works quite nicely in this car, but they've tried to throw in too much onto one screen. So in your CarPlay, when it's activated, you'll get CarPlay, you'll get your climate control, you'll get the car driving settings on top here. It just feels a little bit too busy at any given time. So that's probably one of the downfalls for me of the setup that they've gone for here. But something I have to commend them on is the fact that they've kept a physical volume dial, which is always a great thing because those are just a rarity in the automotive game at the moment. So that's nice to see. There's also some physical buttons on the sides here, and these are for the temperature for your climate control, which is a bit of a weird choice. So you've got they've committed the bottom of the screen here to your climate control, but they've only given you the temperature in buttons and not the actual fan speed. I probably would have put fan speed because I feel like I'd use that more often than I would the temperature. But again, that's just a personal preference. And then at the top here, you are going to find your different drive modes and like a quick access menu. So you'll be able to see whatever you want to, kind of just at a moment's notice. So if you're off-road, you can see the angle of the car, your fuel consumption, your accelerator percentage of how much you're putting in. And then you can also go and change your different drive modes. So snow and dirt, normal, deep snow and mud. So depending on whatever situation you find yourself in, you can set the car up so it can hopefully go and conquer it with you inside. And in front of the driver, you're going to find a leather wrapped steering wheel with some brown contrast stitching, which they've chosen to define the top spec model of this car, which is a little bit strange of a color, but regardless, it's an outdoor car, so maybe that's why they've gone with brown. But you're going to find your famous Subaru badge here in the middle with the 6 stars, which is really nice to see, and lots of buttons for everything. All your multimedia on one side, then you've got all of your driving settings here for your adaptive cruise control and everything that you need. And then you've also got different drive modes for your normal driving settings. So you've got sport, and then you've got I, which I don't know what it means. Maybe it's individual or whatever the case is, but I'm going to go with sport and normal. And then just over here, you're going to find a button for your heated steering wheel. So if you are going off-road into some snowy conditions out in the Drakensberg and you need a heated steering wheel, you are able to go and access that easily right over here. And then from a driver's display, you are going to find normal traditional dials, which normally I love. But I just feel like at the price point of this car, which we'll speak to, this is all that you get. So again, maybe we shouldn't judge a book by its cover, because someone who's buying a Subaru is looking for something a lot more tactile and normal and uncomplicated, and maybe that's the overall theme of this car. But regardless, at least you've still got a little digital screen in the middle. But other than that, traditional dials, pretty, I would say, simple and easily laid out interior. But other than that, this is the inside of the Subaru Forester. And then looking at the back seats, this is in my driving position, and you can see that I've got a whole bunch of space over here, which I'm actually quite impressed with. There is a little bit of a tunnel, but it's not too high, so being able to kind of get across here and fit 3 people shouldn't be too much of a problem. But yeah, I'm 1.87 meters tall, heaps of legroom, quite a bit of headspace too, even though that there is a nice big panoramic roof in here, which you have to open up manually, which is not the easiest when you're driving. But other than that, really nice, pretty spacious. You've got 2 times USBs, a type A and a type C. So the variety is there, 2 different vents, whole bunch of pockets. So a pretty nice car on the inside. And if you have a look over here, you'll find this throughout the car, and it's kind of that outdoor theme. You'll find all different types of treads and like outdoor patterns and like contours of a map. It's pretty cool, and it's a nice little touch to the Subaru. So yeah, nice little Easter eggs to find around the car if you do manage to take a full look. Okay, and then talking pricing. So these go from 699 to 830,000 Rand for the full range. There's 4 different ones to choose from. This is the top spec version that we're in today. So throughout the video, keep an eye out for that. Compare the price to what you're getting, how it drives and everything like that. But speaking of driving, let's get behind the wheel and see what the Subaru Forester is all about. Okay, so we've taken a look at the outside and we've taken a look at the inside of the Subaru, but now it's time to take it for a drive and see what it's like. Now, earlier on in the video, I did also say do not judge a book by its cover, because in my opinion, this car doesn't have a very nice cover. But also adding to that cover appeal is this car's engine and drivetrain setup. So this is powered by a 2.5 litre naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine. Now that's a flat 4-cylinder engine. It's like their boxer engine that Subaru uses all the time and what they're very famous for. Now that engine puts out 136 kilowatts and 247 Newton meters of torque, which again isn't the most impressive numbers when it comes to an off-roader and a 4x4, especially that Newton meter figure. But other than that, all of that also gets sent to all 4 wheels, which is a good thing, but through a CVT transmission. So you've got a non-turboed engine, you've got not very impressive power numbers, and you've got a CVT transmission. So this is where that don't judge a book by its cover comes in, because while I know how that all sounds, this car drives incredibly well. I almost want to eat my words when I speak about all of those numbers and figures, because when you actually get inside and drive this car, it's a whole different story. It's probably one of the nicest CVT transmissions I've ever felt in a car. It barely ever makes that weird droning sound. It drives really nicely. It keeps the RPMs at a good RPM most of the time for some, well, from a fuel consumption point of view, it tries, but we'll get to that. But other than that, because it's naturally aspirated too, there's no lag at all when you put your foot down and drive. So from a stop, you put your foot down and the car's just gonna go. You're probably gonna beat most cars off the line with how quick this thing is to take off. So it drives really, really, really well. So well done, Subaru, you've got a really nice car here. And yes, I think we all need to eat our words when we kind of frown upon the setup that you've given this car, because together, it's really impressive. And what else is impressive is this car's ride quality, because it's really, really good. So yes, the suspension's been kind of configured for more off-roading, so it does need to allow for a lot more wheel travel. But that doesn't mean that it's also super soft on the road. So they've got a really nice balance that they've got there. It handles really nicely too. It feels like as sporty as Subaru should be. So when you throw it into some corners, it performs quite nicely. And thanks to that symmetrical all-wheel drive system, it's always going to send, you know, the power and the torque to the wheel that needs it the most. So the wheel that has less traction is what's going to get it and going to be able to get the grip that you need to either hold that corner, keep you in the corner, to minimize any understeer or oversteer. And especially when going off-road, which we'll get to in a second too. Earlier on in the video, we also did chat about the infotainment screen and the fact that you've got the climate control built into it. So if you want to do some things in the climate control and you're working on it, it's going to take your eyes off of the road. Now, the car doesn't appreciate that. So what Subaru's given you to work with, they also shout at you for doing, because the eyesight system, it shouts at you and it tells you to keep your eyes on the road or concentrate, or then reminds you, do you need to take a break? No, I don't need to take a break. I'm just trying to change the climate control that you've built into a screen, and I need to now look carefully about what I'm doing. So, okay, now I will be watching the road, but my head's going to be looking at the camera, so it's going to think I'm not. So when you're not looking at the road, see? There. Keep eyes on the road. And it does that all the time. So the first thing you do, get in the car, switch it off. Unfortunately, it doesn't have a memory function for that. So every time you get into the car, or switch the car on and switch it back off and that sort of thing, you have to do that every time, which is a little bit sucky. But other than that, those driver assist systems work really well. Even if you stopped at an intersection and the car ahead of you has pulled away, it'll notify you to say the car ahead has pulled away, in case you aren't paying attention or you're on your phone or something like that. Also, the adaptive cruise control is really good. It keeps you at a nice following distance between the car ahead of you, and as usual, you can adjust that distance. And when you do change lanes to get away from the car in front of you and it sees a gap, it reacts quite quickly and gets you back up to the speed that you want to be at. So, yeah, man, this Subaru Forester book that we were judging, I'm still going to judge its looks. I'm not going to be happy about those looks, but I definitely can't judge this book by that cover, because it drives incredibly well. You can see why this brand has been developing a car like this for so long and why they're so popular, because they drive so good. And from a build quality point of view and being able to trust the brand, I think that that's all up there, and it definitely plays in this car's advantage. So yeah, I'm actually being quite impressed by this Forester, I must admit. And then onto the fuel consumption, and Subaru claims 7.9 liters for this car. I'm slowly making my way down to 7.9. I'm currently sitting on 11.3. So that's definitely not good. So I think the system itself somehow makes it a little bit heavier than what Subaru is claiming. Now, it's slowly ticking down. When I picked up the car, it was sitting in I think the high 12s. So I've brought it back down to 11.3 from some suburban driving, adding some highway in between. I don't know if you're going to get it that low. I really don't. If you have been able to, if you have one, please let me know down in the comments. But I'm hoping by the time I give this car back, I could potentially be sitting at around 10.5. And if I am, I will let you guys know with a yes on screen or a no. Okay, so I've brought the car out to a little bit of a dirt road. Now, this is by no means an off-road course, but I'm at least trying to get this car and get a feel for the car that's not on a tarred surface and more on like a loose gravel surface. So this should be good, because I think this is more where this car has been tailored and perfected to feel really good. So I'm going to go into the drive system here, and I'm going to go and select from the drive mode settings. I'm going to go and select snow and dirt, because I feel like that's the best option for what I'm going to be doing right now. And by doing this, I'm telling the car what type of terrain I'm going to be driving onto, that it can best set itself up so it's going to manage the traction accordingly. And thanks to the symmetrical all-wheel drive system, it's going to now deliver that torque and give you the best traction depending on which wheel needs it the most. So this should be some fun. I'm going to drive it quite spiritedly, because I feel like that's what it deserves, and I'll probably get the best feel out of it by doing it that way anyway. So let's see. Now this doesn't have a bespoke off-road menu system in the infotainment, but you can at least see your different angles and what the car is at, from forward, backwards, side to side. Not that you're ever really going to be taking this car to any insane off-roading that you need to know that, but regardless, the suspension handles this really nicely. It doesn't make it feel like a big jarring surface. It's very soft and complied. This actually feels really good. I just got to watch for obstacles, but other than that, this is really impressive. Well done, Subaru. And then onto the verdict in the form of the GDR test. Should you get it, drive it, or remove it from the list of cars that you're looking at? Now, I would say go and drive this. It's a really nice car. It drives really nicely, as I've explained before, but from the looks department, I just don't know if it's got enough to compete with everything else that's out there. You definitely are gonna look past it if it's driving on the road. It's not that neck breaker of other SUVs that are out there. And from a pricing point of view, going up past 800K for the top spec model, and you're not getting top spec features and looks, I just don't know if it's something I can say go and buy, because there's a lot of other noise out there. And I say noise because the SUV market is just buzzing at the moment. So I don't know, an all-wheel drive CX-5. I'd also look at some of the Chinese models. I just had the Haval H7 on test. Also, that's an all-wheel drive car. It's got similar fuel consumption to this, but it looks significantly better and packs a heap ton more of features that makes it also kind of more future-proof, more than what this car is. So if you want to go check that review out, I've also got a link to the top here. But if you're subscribed, which I know that you guys are, you probably would have watched it by now. But if this car has impressed you and you want to go and get yourself one, then go and check one out on changecars.co.za. They're a website that sells new and used cars, but the best thing about them is that they vet and check every single dealership that sells cars on their website, essentially making them the safest online platform to buy and sell cars in South Africa. Now, they've got a really cool feature called Beat My Quote, which is something that they've also trademarked. So this is only something that they do. So if you bring them a quote on a new car from a dealership that's not on their website, lane departure, not only will they match the quotes, but they'll beat it too. So by using Change Cars, you can actually save money and get that car cheaper. So go check them out at changecars.co.za. They're also a proud partner of Greg Dennis Reviews. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you learned a whole bunch more about the Subaru Forester. And if you did, please will you drop a like below. And if you want to see more videos like this and other car reviews, then please subscribe. And until then, I'll see you in the next one. Cheers. Yes, my eyes are on the road. Sorry.